One of the most popular time periods in media in the recent years have been the Viking Age, an age that actually hasn't been covered all that much in video games. In 2017, we got the Total War game Thrones of Britannia, a game I personally thought had some serious issues, and you can see why that is right here. But today, I'm going to cover a mod for Total War Attila that I believe easily outweighs Thrones of Britannia, and does so with a charm the full game just cannot match. And if that sounds good to you, I really hope you leave a like and consider supporting me on Patreon. Every donation means the world to me, and allows me to make more videos just like this one. And now, Age of Vikings for Total War Attila. Now you might ask, wait, how can a Viking mod for Attila even work? The map surely isn't focused enough for that. Well, my friend, this is where the Age of Charlemagne expansion comes in, because that campaign does indeed focus on Western Europe and the important Viking Age locations. Age of Charlemagne's campaign is perfectly suitable for a Viking Age campaign, and let me show you why. Not only do we have a massive map of Western Europe, but contrary to the vanilla campaign, we now have cities placed in their actual historical locations, whether that be Paris or London, and due to the zoomed in map, we have more cities to play around with. The only sad thing about this map is the lack of a proper Norway, but since the Viking factions have already reached Britain, it luckily doesn't ruin too much. Even though the map in a game like Thrones of Britannia does objectively focus more on the British Isles, the Viking Age was so much more than just Britain, and if you enjoy the time period, but have a love for more than just Vikings, Thrones of Britannia just won't do it for you. At least it won't for me. The best thing about Age of Vikings is that you can really see the love for the era that's been put into this mod, and contrary to Thrones, Age of Vikings offers a much more holistic and full representation of this era. In the north, various Viking factions await you, whether that be the Kingdom of Dublin in Ireland, the Danelaw in Britain, or the Danes themselves in Denmark. We of course have Anglo-Saxon kingdoms as well, and in Europe proper, Charlemagne's empire has been divided into four, namely West Francia in France, East Francia in Germany, Lotharingia in between, and Italy in the south. We even get to fight in Iberia as a Christian kingdom, or take on the role as the massive Muslim power of the Emirate of Cordoba. Just like with the Age of Charlemagne campaign itself, this mod has so much diversity in cultures and factions, which I would group into three distinct campaign groups. The battle for and cultures of the north, including Vikings and Anglo-Saxons, the battle for Europe in the pre-Holy Roman Empire, and the battle for southern Europe in Iberia. I would include a fourth here, namely the Byzantine Empire in Italy, but sadly they're not a playable faction, which I think is a real shame. Nevertheless, Italy does in many ways assume that fourth theater of war, as the Kingdom of Italy in the north has to deal with the Frankish factions across the Alps and the minor factions to its south. These include not only the Papal States, but also the western portion of the Eastern Roman Empire and the Emirate of Sicily, meaning Italy is just as much a class of civilizations as any other region of this campaign. This was a quick overview of the campaign and its faction offering, which I think is a really good offering when all is considered. But let's go deeper now, and look at what takes at the individual faction level. Now it doesn't come as a surprise that Age of Vikings is not as advanced as a mod like MK1212, a mod that has been worked on for years and is arguably the biggest mod for Attila right now. But despite being a smaller mod, Age of Vikings has managed to bring some amazingly flavorful options from Age of Charlemagne itself. I am here mainly talking about the individual faction missions and the main goal for the campaign no matter which faction you play as. For example, playing as the Viking faction Kingdom of Dublin, it would perhaps not make the most sense to remain being called Kingdom of Dublin if you expand and conquer all of Ireland. This is why the Age of Vikings mission system is so awesome, because it allows you to effectively form new factions when the right conditions are met. If you conquer all of Ireland as the Kingdom of Dublin, then you can actually become the Kingdom of Ireland, a move so immersive that I cannot express how important it is to a mod like this. In the same vein, playing as the Kingdom of Wessex will allow you to form the Kingdom of England, playing as Italy allows you to form the new Roman Kingdom, and so on. This adds that layer of possibility over the entire mod because there's more to achieve than just a simple map conquest. And for some factions like East Francia, where you need to conquer 30 provinces before being able to form the new faction, that makes it a real accomplishment as well. In addition, we have new edicts for provinces which I find are very time appropriate and actually make a big strategic difference. And I found them especially useful when playing a minor faction like the Kingdom of Dublin and trying to balance food production with public order in a recently conquered city. And we also have new traits for commanders. The only campaign side of things this mod does not really update to my knowledge is the technology tree. The tech tree for the Kingdom of Charlemagne in the vanilla expansion campaign, for example, has been introduced to all Carolingian factions. In the same vein, Viking factions use the Norse systems and so on. But honestly, this doesn't really hinder any of the fun. And since we're only 100 years apart from the Charlemagne campaign itself, it doesn't even seem that anachronistic or weird seeing as we're essentially in the same early medieval time period. So while it's always nice to see a new tech tree, I really don't feel like it's a problem here. And that's it for the campaign, but of course there's the matter of the battle map. This is another area of innovation for Age of Vikings, as the mod comes with a total of over 100 new units for the various factions and cultures. Check out for example the Frankish Cavallari and the other new Frankish units, which are also differently colored whether playing as the Eastern or Western Frankish empires. The same goes for the Viking factions, offering among their unit rosters units such as heavily armored hitmen, and even the famed berserkers wearing wolves' heads into battle. Wessex gives you that early medieval look aplenty, with the Thanes especially looking particularly awesome in my opinion. Or why not play as the Sicilian or Cordoban Emirates, which offer equally great looking and especially unique units due to their cultural distinctness. There are even new units for the Byzantine Empire despite them not being playable in the campaign, but makes for a much more immersive experience when actually fighting them, which you have to do early on if you decide to take on the role of the Emirate of Sicily especially, but perhaps also Italy in the north. In my video on the Viking-themed Total War game Thrones of Britannia, I mentioned that I was never as immersed as I wish I would be, and that the various mechanics didn't really sit right with me. Age of Vikings, however, despite being in mod for Attila and therefore having no groundbreaking new mechanics of its own, somehow manages to make me feel immersed in a time period the base game wasn't even meant for. I think it's owed to three major reasons. The first is that Attila itself is the darkest of the Total War games, and therefore also reflects the early medieval era quite well. Second is the fact that the Age of Charlemagne campaign is a near perfect substitute for a dedicated Viking Age campaign, as it not only includes Britain, but a much larger region where Vikings were active historically, such as France and even Sicily. The fact that we also get to play as other cultures during this time makes it even better, and further, the fact that each playable faction can form into completely new and larger kingdoms is such a good way to make expansion not just an act for its own sake, but in the pursuit of actually turning your faction into their high medieval counterparts or alternate historical constructions entirely. Age of Vikings, whether on the campaign or the battle map, offers a unique take on the Viking Age which few other games or mods manage to do, and I highly recommend checking out this mod if you own Total War Attila and the Age of Charlemagne expansion. All credit goes to the modders for their amazing work, and the mod can easily be downloaded on the Steam Workshop with nothing more than the click of a button. Thank you so much for watching. I've really been enjoying this mod over the years, and absolutely love that someone made something so awesome out of the Age of Charlemagne campaign map, which I believe is one of the most immersive maps ever created in a Total War game due to its size and scale of the northern, western and southern parts of Europe. If you enjoyed the video, I really hope you leave a like, a comment, and consider supporting me on Patreon, where every donation is much appreciated. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.